Hi everyone, this is Mary Sutherland. Mary Sutherland live stream. Sorry that I haven't been on for a few days, but I've been sick. I don't know what it was. Actually, I got sick after I did that show on topoids. Make sure that it was public. It is, so we're good. Hi Deborah. Thank you for ordering those cards. I'll have them out in the mail tomorrow for you. I would have had them out today, but I had put all my tarot cards up, and you think I could remember where the heck I put them? Brad and me went, the house got like 3 floors to it, and we went through every floor looking for all my tarot cards. We finally found them in a big box. There had been a blanket thrown over them, so anyhow, I found them. Hi Claire, how are you doing? I hope everything is going better for you, your treatments and everything. Know that you're loved and you're daily being prayed for. Hi Kimberly, how are you today? Anyhow, people are just starting to come on right now. I had the show, I'm doing the show at 4. We're going to be talking on one subject, and then also we'll be doing free tarot cards too, readings. So we'll probably we'll do a little talky first, and then we'll go into the tarot readings. Anyhow, it was kind of interesting on those tarot readings. So hi Hawero. It was interesting on those tarot cards. Last time I gave a reading, there was tarot said, for one, that they were caught in fear, and the second card said rest and rejuvenation. Found out that the woman's brother was going in for surgery, so she was caught up in fear, and now he's recovering and rejuvenating. And then the second person that had me read their cards, it said that love was coming into their life, and he contacted me and told me he's got a new girlfriend now. So way to go, cards, huh? And Deborah Gresham right here, she bought some Dharma cards from me, and so anyhow, I appreciate the support. Anybody that does want to get tarot cards from me, or oracle cards, or we have cards for beginners, and anyhow, if you want, it's it'd be livinginthelightms.com /tarot. And if I wasn't so lazy, what I could just do is just type that in. ACP www.livinginthelightms.com tarot. Anyhow, there's all my tarot cards right there, or should be anyhow. And I've upgraded it too, because now I've got ritual and spell kits also up on that site. Hi Gail, how you doing? Hi Danielle. I'd like to come up with topics that most people haven't already discussed. So I was thinking about it and thought, well, how about recessive genes? You're missing me? Oh, bless your sweet little heart. Gail says that she's missing me. Well, I've been sick for the last couple days. And I kind of wonder about why I got sick, because I was perfectly okay until I started talking about the topoids. And right after I talked about the topoids, I got deathly sick. And I stayed sick for 2 days. And remember how I said that on that show on the topoids that scorpion had bit me, and from there, and I ended up going to the hospital. Well, I'm kind of wondering, you know, because thoughts do attract, you know, whatever you're thinking is going to be pulled to you. So I'm wondering if when I was doing that show, if I didn't pull in a tophoid, and if I didn't get bit by one. Gail says it's all in the planetary energy and solar energy coming in to clear us out now. Yeah, I also thought about that too. I'm very receptive to portals opening and shifts, and so usually when something's going on, I do have some sort of a reaction, and so so I'm thinking it was a cleansing process, and but if it was a tophoid, that's what when they bite, what it does is they inject this poison into you, and it's either, you know, it can make you very, very ill. And so I'm kind of thinking that maybe I might have gotten bit by one, but they're invisible. I mean, like, the reason I got that picture of that one tophoid that bit me was because someone was taking a picture when it was on my face. So let's hope it is huge, Gail. I mean, we need some, we need a break here. The quakes and volcanoes are now also going like dominoes. Hi, Yari. Yari, I'm going to read your cards today because I've noticed that I think you've asked maybe 3 times already, and by the time I get done, I've missed your reading. So you're going to be the first one. You got me covered, Gail? Well, how do you mean you got me covered? Gail says that she's got me covered. I totally understand that in order to be able to make a wise choice that you have to see and experience both sides of the coin. Thank you, Gail. Gail says that angels are with me. But I don't know what I'd do without my angels and my guardians. I mean, they have kept me out of trouble so many different times because I know when it comes to trouble, getting into trouble, like walking into these strange areas and all the research I do and looking for Bigfoot on my own, being out there in the woods, you know, if it wasn't for my angels, I just wonder how long I would have survived. You protect my home. I protect your home. Yeah, I have a white sage here for sale too, California white sage. That's the only thing I use, California white sage. Nothing else. Oh, in Burlington. Gail says, you protect my home in Burlington. Nikki Cron. I had Bell's palsy 3 years ago. A co-worker had an allergic reaction to chemicals that got switched at work. I told her that I had Bell's palsy 3 years previous and explained in detail how hard it was to work that way. Right after that, I came down with it again. Hey, I'm telling you, it happens. You gotta be careful of what you think, because you will pull that stuff to you. You notice, like the Catholics, anytime somebody's sick or they say the wrong thing, first thing you see them doing the heart thing, you know, for protection. And yeah, I kind of have to go along with that. So. But anyhow, hi Aiden. Aiden's starting up his own show on psychopathic killers, serial killers. Thank you, Aiden. He says I look beautiful. I like that. That makes me happy. But God knows it takes long enough. Every year you get older, it takes 5 more minutes to add 5 more minutes on applying your makeup. Pretty soon all I'm going to do is be one big jar of makeup, huh? But what I wanted to do is talk about recessive gene and how it affects things as it is today. Hi, Richard. Because we got all these strange cryptids out there. I mean, Bigfoot. We have the Bear Man. We've got the Dog Man. We've got, oh my God, we got the little people, fairies, elves. But where'd they come from? You know, it's like, let's take for example Dog Man. Now, for as long as there's been any history, written history, well, before written history was oral history, and but there's always been stories of werewolves, and we've never taken that serious ever. You know, we've never taken those stories serious. It was you know, folklore, fairy tales, you know, things to scare our kids. But same way with Bigfoot. But there are werewolves out there. You know, we call them dogmen now, and you know, they're supposed to be from what? Hello from New Zealand. Well, hello from the United States. But anyhow, so we've never paid any attention to any of this. But werewolves are real. There's if you listen to that Dogman Encounters, you know, or any of these shows anymore, they say that there's two different types of these dogmen. One is the type 1, which is very aggressive. It looks more like a wolf. And then there's there's another one out there that is that has a shorter snout and is more passive. And luckily for us here in this area, well, at least in the Burlington area, we have the more passive one. And so many people from around the world have heard about the legend of the Gray Road Beast, which was people came to learn about through the efforts of then Walworth County reporter Linda Godfrey. So she was supposed to went out to do a Halloween story. It was just like a joke, right? So they sent out Linda to write a good Halloween story. And so this was how she came about the Gray Road Beast. Now Linda's a friend of mine, so I get all these little inside scoops, okay? So anyhow, she went out there not believing in the dog or into Gray Road Beast, but just trying to put out a story, as a good reporter would. So anyhow, she's going around. She's talking to all these people that had hi Hooten, how are you? But anyhow, she went out there and she was getting all these stories from different people that had sighted the Gray Road Beast. And now she's looking at these people. She's a good reporter. She knows people that are BSing versus, you know, reliable witnesses. And she's listening to these people, and they're telling her stories of what they had seen, you know, with the Gray Road Beast, you know, the Burlington Dog Man. And there was just way too many stories, way too many witnesses. And the thing was, none of these witnesses, it wasn't for notoriety, because none of these witnesses wanted their names in the newspaper, you know. So, okay, and they didn't want money for their story or anything. They were just being nice, telling her what they saw, you know, and saying, hey, keep her name out of it. But as Linda went, she wrote the story, but she was hooked. She was hooked on these stories of the Dogman, of these the Gray Road Beast. So anyhow, so she started collecting all of her reports, and eventually through it all, out comes her book, The Beast of Bray Road. And thus the rest is history. I mean, it happened to be the first book she put out, became one of the most famous books in the world, basically. And it opened up a whole new genre of writing. People started writing on Bigfoot and Dogman, and she also wrote the book Michigan Dogman as well. And and then hi Natalie. And so she started, and people started contacting her from all over the world, sharing their stories with her. So anyhow, there was one, I believe it was the History Channel had put out a documentary on these dogmen that they had seen at Avon Bottoms. Now that's only 5 miles away from where I am, okay, and or at least within a half an hour drive. And so last year, Linda showed up, and along with two of our other friends, and we went to Avon Bottoms, and because she wanted to show us where that was. Because I mean, the documentary that was on, I think, like I said, it was either Sci-Fi Channel or History Channel, talked about these younger adults stopping there on what was that? I can't think of the road, but anyhow, stopping alongside the road at Avon Flats, and they walked just kind of like a little parkish area back there for, you know, there's what river is that? The Sugar River goes through there. And so anyhow, she showed us where it was. We parked the car. We all went back out there, and we got some amazing footprints. I mean, a Bigfoot head that just went through there just minutes before we went through, and we got prints of. We didn't get the Dogman sighting because, see, what those younger adults, what they saw was 3 Dogmen, and it looked like 2 adults and 1 teenager or something like a juvenile. So anyhow, the police actually did polygraph tests on them to see, you know, lie detector tests to see if they were lying, and they all passed the lie detector test. And Linda was the main investigator on that story. So anyhow, she took us out there, and we saw the prints. So anyhow, it's real. Long story short. And you see, going back to I was saying is going all the way back to oral history. I have to let my dog down. He don't want to be here with us. He don't want to help me do the show. So, but anyhow, going back to all the way back to oral history tells about these werewolves, and we joke about it. But now we realize, hi Andrea, or Adriana, I'm sorry. You've been at our cafe before, and you've been on our tours too, I remember you. So, but anyhow, it is very, very real, the Bigfoot. I've been rushed by a Bigfoot. I've seen Bigfoot, 20 foot away from me. I've seen their shelters. I've had them throw rocks at me, whistle, tree knocks. It's all there. Footprints. That's evidence. If you took that to court, that would be evidence that one could use to prosecute. So I know as a fact there are Bigfoot. But there's still people out there that laugh about it. But again, where did the Bigfoot come from? I mean, why is it that it's only been in our consciousness for what now, maybe 10 years? That we've been talking about it, that people have actually been writing about it, researching it, people have been seeing it. What happened? Yeah. I mean, why? Why after all these years? Because we can trace Bigfoot all the way back to the days of Gilgamesh. in Sumerian history. And so, and they were called the Enkidu at that time. So we know that these Bigfoot exist, and they always have existed. But why all of a sudden are we just noticing them now again? Why is it that all of a sudden they're no longer storybooks, or tales from storybooks, legend, urban legend? Why have they made themselves so visible to us that we now know that they're real? Big or Dogman, same way. I mean, there used to be a civilization, a race of dogmen. They were very civilized. They actually wore clothes. They had towns. They because of how big they were and how vicious they were in fighting, they were used as soldiers, and the ancient Greeks even had them participate in their Olympic Games. I mean, these are dog-headed men with fur, and they had cities, and people recognized them as people. And what happened? Where does a civilized race, even though they look different than us, a civilized race turned, just like Bigfoot as a civilized race, turned from being civilized into what we have today? Because they're the dogman. Now, we think the dogman is uncivilized, and we think that Bigfoot's uncivilized, right? Because they have a different way of life. But maybe they think that we're uncivilized. Danielle thinks that maybe they're making their appearance because of the planetary shifts, earthquakes, and etc. It could be. These doorways, maybe... these are questions. I mean, I'm asking you, because I don't know. But I think it's very suspicious that within the last 10 years, all of this stuff is opening up to us. And then we have Mothman accounts. Not only in West Virginia, but Linda Godfrey wrote about the Mothman in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And there has been other sightings of Mothman. There's flying humanoids. We had a report. I did a wonderful report, actually, by this. God, she must have been 80-some years old. She contacted me up one evening, and she had kept this story to herself and contacted me and listen. I'm 80-some years old. I don't have much longer on this life, to be on this planet or on this earth. So I have to tell you a story. I want it documented. I've never talked about it, but I think it needs to be documented. So she had me come up to her house, and she told me a story about this UFO that had been coming over her place. And it was so big that locals will understand this, that it covered the sky from her place at Browns Lake to Lake Geneva. But coming from this UFO, because it was so low she could see this, there'd be an opening, and there would be these, she saw a flying humanoid come down and went into the tanny. There's these trees, tanny trees, and anyhow, he was there for a long time, probably collecting tanny leaves. which is used in magic in ancient Egypt for healing and various ceremonies. But anyhow, and then he went back up. The inside, or the UFO opened up. He went up inside, and the UFO took off. So we got flying humanoids. How they fly, I don't know. She couldn't tell, but he was definitely a humanoid flying. And we're getting reports of flying humanoids in Mexico as well. They had a police officer that gave a report of seeing one. So, what's going on in our world? Is it breaking down? Are the dimensions breaking down, maybe? Did these people from ancient times step into another dimension, possibly, due to some sort of catastrophe? Or did they die out and recessive genes started starting to come through with breedings? Every play, like Bigfoot, the same way with Dogman too. Most of the time where you see these is where these sacred sites are, these ancient earthen mounds, these power points. Well, if that's where they're seeing them, we do know that those have entrances, they're doorways to the other dimensions. So that would stand to reason then that there are some of them that have the ability, or maybe all of them that have the ability to go in through these doorways into these other dimensions on the other timelines. And now they're coming back out and making their presence known to us. To me, that makes sense. Because when we got rushed by that one Bigfoot up there in the haunted woods, when we were able to track down where he originated from, and I took a bunch of pictures, and sure enough, there was a huge portal right there, and that's where he disappeared to. He's going back to that portal. So I'm thinking that he was probably using the portal. People have said, well, if they were dimensional, they can't be, because of the fact that they have to eat, they have to sleep, and they bleed, everything that three-dimensional entities do. But I have had OBE experiences, out-of-body experiences, and did the astral flights. We call it portal surfing around here, and I know as a fact that when you step out of when your etheric body steps out of your physical body, that you can go through these portals, and as soon as you do, you solidify again. So you're totally physical. So that's what I know about, portal surfing. But wonder if it's kind of like a Star Trek thing, where in their ancient past technology, they had learned how to use technology to be able to go through these doorways, in and out, in and out, in and out. And what makes it, so maybe someone only come in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, maybe spend the weekend with family. But maybe there's others that just want to live here. Or maybe, I know like with us, like as far as portal surfing goes, you have to be of the right frequency in order to get through. So maybe there's some that will have gotten here in this dimension and their frequency dropped or changed to the point where they can't get back through the doorways. And so this becomes their permanent home. which could have been what happened with the jinn, as well as maybe even us humans. You know, when you start studying cryptozoology, you know, you can't get close. You just go deeper down that rabbit's hole. It's just, in the same way with even the metaphysics. When you're into spirituality and into understanding dimensions and the multidimensional entities, it's just like you learn a little bit, but as you learn that little bit, there's a whole lot more that's given to you to learn. And of course, as humans, what do we want to do? We want to naturally find out as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and it doesn't work. Um, I, the so the so I know that there's a lot of people out there now researching UFOs um, and Bigfoot and Jugman, Jersey Devil, and things like that. The cryptids. I know that they are. But I think that we need to add into the equation, why are they here? How, you know, why all of a sudden are they so noticeable? You know, because they've become part of our reality now, not just, folklore or something to laugh at or to scare our kids. To a lot of us, they've actually become very much part of our reality. And and we're also seeing them being born again through us, especially like the red-haired giants. The giants had double rows of teeth. They had 6 fingers, 6 digits on each hand and each foot. They had generally red hair. Like I said, the double rows of teeth. Going back into history, if you talk about the gods, they could have been 40 foot, 60 foot tall. And then you went down to the Olympics, which were smaller, shorter. The Titans, smaller and shorter. Until you got to the red-haired giants, of probably around the Bronze Age, where they were probably anywhere between 8 foot and maybe 12 foot, maybe even 15 foot, but that'd be kind of extreme. But they all had the same characteristics of the teeth, the extra digits and that. But there's such a thing as a recessive gene, and so in our family lines going way back when, you've seen that people, the giants made, the giants bred with the earthly women. So did the angels, the jinn, and fallen angels. So when they impregnated one of the earthly women, that woman, the baby born, would have the genes of that person, the father. So, being so, they're sitting there dormant for thousands of years. But now, as you see, more and more people are being born into our world 7 foot tall. I mean, that's not, it used to be 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you see somebody, 6'3" used to be considered tall. I mean, now you're seeing 7 foot people, 8 foot people walking around. And I've even had a friend that was born with double row of teeth, so she had to have her, teeth pulled, so that, to straighten everything out. So that's a recessive gene. Then you got the Fugits of Kentucky. They were blue people. And their whole family, they just kind of bred back and forth within the family. and they carried that mutant gene, giving them the blue skin. So, and you've seen pictures of Moses coming off the mountain carrying the Ten Commandments with horns on his head. You see a lot of depictions of horned beings. Horns, they say, represents wisdom. No, it may have, but it also, there actually were people born in life with horns. That comes from that recessive gene. In their family line, way back when the earth was young, there was people, the goat people, so and they're being bred back into this reality that we have today. Little people, you see perfect proportion little people. Some aren't, but some are very proportionate. But even the ones that aren't proportionate, they are here because of a recessive gene. Meaning that their family, way back when, someplace in that family line, came from a tribe of little people. And you hear about the little people all the time, in North America history as well. So so people are actually being born back into this world through the recessive gene. And of course, our DNA carries our memory as well as all of our family's memory from the moment that we and our family was created. Everything is in our DNA, all those memories. And which means the fears as well as our beliefs, the color of our hair, our height, the recessive gene part, where a person grows a horn, or doesn't get his height, or becomes a giant. This is all in our makeup, in our physical makeup. So we can't deny that. You can just see it. And then in my book, Giants, what is it? Giants. Huh. I forgot the name of my book. Giants, Gods, and Lost Races. I talk about all these races that used to be that are no longer. And we've forgotten them. But even though we've forgotten them, they haven't gone forever because we carry them in our genetic makeup. And they are coming back through us, just as prophesized. But other things are coming back too. Now, is it the veil has opened? Or is it that our reality is crumbling? Wouldn't that be something? I always use a haunted woods to help me, to figure things out, because it always seems like if it's going to happen, it always happens there first. And I have seen how worlds, taking pictures up there, I've watched how worlds come together and collide, or worlds separating out. And so we could have, you think of, and this is what Spirit told me. They said, think of those, those little bottles you have of bubbles, and you have that stick and you put the stick in it and you blow, and you have all those little bubbles. And you see them, some are little, some are big, some come together and pop, and others come together and they merge to make a bigger bubble. They said, the Spirit told me, this is what's going on in the world right now that you don't even see. That, yes, you have Earth, 3D Earth, But all around 3D Earth, floating around, are all these invisible planets, all these different realities and timelines. You just don't see them, and they're moving about all the time. And like right now, they talk about Earth separating. It's the same way as that bubble. You got one, or a cell. A cell starts with one cell, then it comes together like this, you know, it makes two cells, and then they split up. And that's what's happening now, is Earth is creating a new Earth, and eventually it'll be two cells, and then two Earths. One will be of one vibration, one frequency, the other Earth will be of another frequency. Based on what frequency we're at is the one that we'll end up on. But then each one of them also has, like the tree of life, each one of them has their bubbles. You know, they're all floating around. Everything's floating around, this colliding and creating all the time. It's just we don't see it. But that doesn't mean, because, I mean, I've had people, well, so there's maximum in California, right? And so somebody calls me up and says, hey, there was a car accident in California. So what am I supposed to do? Say, no, it didn't happen. Well, why didn't it happen? Because I didn't see it. No, that's kind of stupid, huh? So, you know, things are happening. Whether we want to admit to it or not, it is happening. And I think that the veil that is deteriorating, some people say it's thinning, either way, tomato, tomato, right? But I think that what's happening is it's deteriorating, it's thinning, and it's gotten to the point where a lot of these things are coming out, and they're starting to make their homes in our reality. And I think that we need to start admitting to it and getting real about it, and accepting it. That's my feelings on it anyhow. I do want to take some time though to give some readings before we leave, but I have footprints of Bigfoot, and my grandson, my little red-headed grandson, he he was very much into Bigfoot, so I was really proud of it. In fact, he was my little Bigfoot hunter. And then he went to school and he told his teacher, or his teacher overheard him playing Bigfoot. Saw him playing Bigfoot. Jumped all over him, embarrassed him in front of all the other kids. Then contacted his parents and said that they needed to straighten him out on Bigfoot, and that he was never to talk about Bigfoot again. Otherwise, at school. He could talk about it at home, but he could not talk about it at school. So his parents gave him a big talking to and told him that what grandma says is I'm just making things up, not to believe me again. So it was very, very disappointing, because I wasn't making it up. It really is true. And people that don't believe it's true, it could be in serious trouble when they go into the woods and they're not prepared. But you need to start listening to Dogman Encounters, and listen to these people that have actually experienced encounters with Dogman. Then Vic Kunda also has a show called Bigfoot Encounters, and I've been on that show. But Dogman, no, because I believe in them, but I'm not going to ever be a researcher of them, because they're a very, very dangerous animal. Now, I've been able to trace Dogman all the way back biblically to Nebuchadnezzar. And God punished Nebuchadnezzar by turning him into a dogman or a werewolf, where he, was put out into the fields with the other animals. And So there's Nebuchadnezzar as a dog man. And the wars that they use using dog men, you know, as warriors, like I said. So, what the heck? What? You know, I don't understand why people don't believe in all this stuff. I you know, I've heard people say, well, I don't have time for it, or it doesn't affect me any. Who cares? Well, I don't know. I care. I think all you guys care. Now, we do have a huge, huge planetary shift coming up, and that is going to open up a lot more, you know, things to come. And we've got these full moons in July opens this up to, they're called the spiritual moons, because they have the energy to lift us higher into our own spirituality. And we got that big eclipse coming up too this month. So, you know, I don't know I don't know what's going to happen with this world. I do know that usually, you know, that chaos comes prior to, but you know, this, what do they say? It's the storm before. I can't even think of all those things that they got. But anyhow, life is biorhythms. What goes up comes down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That includes you. If you're going through a bad time, however bad it is, it will go up just as high. That's why you got to hang in there. No, and you know, so I mean, and it's true. Brad told me that a long time ago, and I watched it happen over and over and over again. But you also got to remember, though, that it's up to you, you know, to let go of that balloon too, you know, so that your life and all good things can start coming up and becoming, you know, available for you, because you get your thoughts caught up in darkness and in the muck and in hopelessness and worrying about what's going to happen to the world and what's going to happen to you, worrying about your bills and et cetera, et cetera. All that darkness will, the longer you hold on to that darkness, the longer it's going to hold you down. You got to think of it like a helium balloon with a string. And as long as you're holding on to that string, that helium balloon can't go up. But as soon as you let go of that string or cut that string, then it'll go up. So, you know, so you gotta let go of that baggage. You gotta change your thoughts. And even if you don't want to change your thoughts, you still gotta change them. Because you can fight it as much as you want, but like I've always said, you can negotiate with any person on this, in this 3D reality all you want. But you cannot negotiate with the universe. Universal law is universal law, and it's all based on frequency, vibration. And so, you know, if you want good in your life, then you got to start thinking good. You know, you got to start seeing life as good. You know, you got to change that, your vibration of good, so that you can go up. But if you're insistent on feeling sorry for yourself, being angry with everybody, and not taking on responsibility for your own actions, then, you know, you're just holding yourself back. The universe is just sitting there waiting for you to let go of that balloon. So if you don't let it go, well, whose fault is it? Now, Yari, I'm going to give a little reading here. So, and I promise that you're going to be the first. So I hope you're here. Yari's a medicine man, a shaman. He's taught me a lot in life. I love his teachings. The biggest thing that he taught me, though, was the name of God. because God is the Alpha and the Omega. So it's the first breath you take and the last breath you let go. So it's breath. So when you do the Hebrew tried to spell it out and it came out as Yahweh. Yeah. And it's funny because there'll be people that say, well, I deny God. I don't even use his name. I deny him. There's no living creature on this earth, living, that does not call out on the name of God with every breath it takes and lets go. Yeah. Yeah. Get it? So I think that's cool. So when all these atheists and that are going ahead and saying, well, I don't use him, I don't call upon God, you know, I don't even believe in God. And it's like, it's God's joke on them, because every time they breathe and let go, they're calling on his names. I thought that was cool, Yari. So anybody else want a reading? Yari, yari. Yari, 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 yari. You know, it was crazy the other day. I did a reading, and I'm used to just the universe, you know, talking to me. Spirit, my guardian spirits and that talking to me. But for the first time, a deceased person came through and used me as conduit to give a message. And I don't know if I really like that or not, because it was okay that they did, I guess, but I think that they should have asked me for permission, you know. But I guess desperate times, you do desperate things, right? They were trying to get through to their daughter. Yari, the cards are very tight-lipped for you. Anybody else want a reading, though? Oh, there it is. It finally spoke up for you, Yari. Moving on. Moving on. You're coming out of something kind of that was holding you back, and you decided to make that step forward, huh? Into the light. Then you got the green leaves, where that means growth. And it looks like you carrying, I don't know if that's no, I think it's kind of like a pocket watch, like it's saying it's about time. So there you go, Yari, for a reading. I'm glad you all showed up for the show. So, you know, nothing is black and white. And nothing is what we see it to be, or to smell it to be, or it feels to be. There's all these things going on within us, you know, through our DNA, through our genetic makeup, which is all it is energy. And Yari, are you here? If so, let me know. And if anybody else wants a reading, let me know. But then there's the invisible world. And that is just teeming with life and all these different things going on. And then, you know, like a person dies and we're mourning his death or her death, and we find, but then we have to realize that in another timeline that person is still alive. It was just that one little piece of that soul sharing that body with us at the time. Mayans did the same thing. What are you talking about, Gail? Mayans did the same. So it's just a piece. so life goes on. It always does go on. Now, what's heaven? What's hell? That is what we are making right now for our next chapter or our next book, or maybe it's chapter. You create. If you ever watch these, these after death shows, they say, "Well, I saw Jesus." Another person says, "I seen hell." Another person says, "I seen Buddha. I seen Krishna." You know. Well, the reason for that is because the mind uses the brain to create your next chapters in life. And so what you are here, what you're doing here on this earth plane, and also what you've been taught to believe. So if you're a Catholic, you're gonna see, Jesus. If you're Buddhist, you're gonna see Buddha, Krishna, whatever. But it's what you expect. That's what you're going to find. What you know of is what you're going to find. And so, like a mean, cold, hard person that just hates the world. Well, you can about imagine what he is making for himself when he crosses over. And now, if he's a Christian, he may find himself in a place like hell, all right, or purgatory. Like for me, there used to be an old song. Well, I'm getting disconnected here a lot, so what I'm going to do is I'll tell you, if you don't know about my hobo or my heaven, I've created a rock candy mountain with sugar plums hanging from the tree. The streams are made of sparkling soda, candy bars, unicorns, multicolored rabbits, you know. And then the mountain leads to this path that goes up to this big old beautiful crystal palace. And that's where I get to meet my kings and my queens and play princess and go to the balls and then come home again. And that's my heaven. And everybody that wants to come can come and visit. And then when they want to go home, they can go home, or they can stay with me forever. I don't care. So anyhow, that's what heaven is. It's you make it here on earth. That's what Christ said, And you make it here on earth and for your next chapter in life. So maybe what we can do is I can ask you for the next show of what, if you were creating your heaven, what would you put in it, right? And how would you act in order to make sure that you can enjoy that heaven when you get there? Veils are thinning and time will collapse. I believe that. I believe that very much. I think that your time is already collapsing, Gail. So anyhow, until tomorrow, I love you guys all very much. I hope that I read to Yari correctly. And like I said, I love you all. Oh, I got to remind you though, July 15th, Saturday, is my party. So if you're coming to it, you want to come to Winslow, 248 Carver Street, all you have to do is bring something for the potluck dinner. And we're going to, Dr. Steve Spearson's going to be here, and he's going to be doing a talk on UFOs and the Antarctic. So it's going to be very interesting. He's fair. And then and everybody that wants to do card reading or bring their books or whatever, bring them. You can make if somebody wants to buy one of your books or whatever, you're more than happy to make a little bit of money at my party. And there'll be a lot of food, and it's going to have a lot of fun. And then Sunday, I'm hoping to take anybody that's left over from the party. I'm hoping to take the Avon bottom in search of birds. So don't forget, July 15th. I think it starts around. So anyhow, looking forward to seeing you all. It's going to be why we celebrate it, because I want to see all you guys. I miss you. And besides, it's my birthday. And Brad and my anniversary. So, love you guys. See you tomorrow.